Entre amigos nuevamente con ustedes. Ivancho y Laura aquí reportándoles, felices de volver a compartir un ratito. Y bueno, hoy tenemos un día que nos va a llevar a todos al pasado, Ivancho. ¿Quién vamos a tener hoy? ¿Qué pasa? Cuéntamelo todo.
Bueno, vamos a tener un profesor de matemáticas. Bueno, a mí creo que me dio fue álgebra, pero
Mi
bueno, de
materia
matemáticas,
favorita.
me imagino. Matemáticas, álgebra, química, tus favoritas, física. Y bueno, ya lo vamos a tener en un ratico en línea, pero mientras tanto, mientras que él se conecta, quiero invitarlos a todos a que nos colaboren. Necesitamos encontrar algunos profesores que no hemos podido encontrar. Necesitamos encontrar a Miss Green, se llamaba Mary Ann Green, Miss Densmore, Mr. Trott, no sé, Mr. Black, si todavía...
Me encantaría convencer a Rao. Ya estamos en conversaciones desde hace rato con su hijo y no hemos podido convencer a Rao para que esté aquí. Me encantaría que Mr. Martin de mi parte nos diga que sí pronto. Mr. Rumpf sería fantástico poderlo
Exacto.
encontrar.
Entonces necesitamos la ayuda de todos ustedes en buscar otros profesores que nosotros no tenemos los contactos o que no sabemos cómo ubicarlos. Y a todos los que han ayudado, porque esto ha sido un proyecto de mucha gente, muchísimas gracias, sobre todo a Carolina Chávez, que siempre nos colabora, y a los demás, porque mis compañeros, tus compañeros, bueno,
Y la verdad que
nos mandan fotos.
el Facebook, el WhatsApp, todos los teams y los class captains nos han ayudado y nos han sugerido, oye, tienen que entrevistar a este y al uno y al otro. Y la verdad que ha sido espectacular ver a la gente tan motivada. Yo en lo personal le quiero dar gracias a la gente que me escribió a mí directamente porque el capítulo de Mrs. Coelho fue fuertísimo para mí a nivel personal y tengo varios DMs de varias personas que me dijeron, oye, gracias por compartir tu historia del bullying. Y siento que hoy en día es tan importante poder hablar de eso y tener como los pantalones para hablar de lo que te pasó en algún momento. Y lo más importante es poder después explicar cómo saliste adelante, cómo te hiciste más fuerte gracias a personas como ella. Así que gracias a esas personas que me han mandado mensajes directos de corazón.
Gracias, gracias. Oye, entonces, bueno, démosle acceso a nuestro profesor invitado de hoy. Esta va a ser en inglés.
Dale, cambiamos el chip.
Let's change the
Sí.
right away.
Joining.
Hello, hello. Let us know if you hear us. Let us know if you see us.
Oh,
Can they see you? Hear us? Do you
yeah.
see?
They will now.
Perfect. Now we see you.
Hello, hello.
My
That was
technical
not
advisor.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
you not our
changed
guest.
my teacher.
This is it. 30 years later, here we are.
Oh my
So
God, you look the same and not the same, but you still have that personality. Immediately, I went away and went back a couple of years.
Yeah, I haven't changed, I guess, for better or worse.
So I haven't said your name yet to anybody. So we have Mr. Leary, Timothy Leary, right? That's your full name. Well, Timothy Patrick Leary is your full name, right?
Yeah.
Well, nice to have you here. Thank you for joining our show Entre Amigos, and we're so happy to reconnect with you.
Yeah, great to see you guys. I'm happy for your perseverance and persistence, you know, because well, did you get my letter? Did you read my letter?
I did. It's a long letter. Basically, it's a long letter.
Well,
but yeah.
The gist is I don't have a computer, I don't have a cell phone, and I don't have a TV.
Oh my God, you live life at the best.
I'm off the grid.
Huh?
Yeah, and you check your emails. Yeah, you check your emails every 3 weeks, basically, or something like that.
No, every couple of days, you know. I have a part-time job, and it's across from the library. And so I go to the library on my lunch hour and I see what's going on and for emails, and usually not so much, you know, once in a while I get an email, you know, but a very uncluttered life.
Now, how is living without a cell phone, a TV, and like the basic technology nowadays for millennials that they won't live 30 minutes without?
I know. I don't know, because I never had a cell phone. I have had TVs. I don't have anything against those things. You know, they're fine. If somebody said, here's a TV, I plug it in. In fact, somebody gave me a cell phone and I tried to get it going, but it didn't work out. What's the other thing? Computer. I don't, I don't do that much on a computer. I go to the library and I'll, people spend their lives on computers. And I just don't have that much to do. I don't know. In fact, I had another part-time job. I was a front desk clerk at a motel. And here in Buffalo, in winter, nobody comes to Buffalo. So I'd have all night and I had a computer and I'd be on the computer an hour or two. And then okay, I'm done with this. I'd read the newspaper. I just didn't know what to do. So yeah, I don't know,
So, Mr. Leary, well, welcome to this show. And we want to know, we have a lot of questions for you, but we want to know first, how did you to Colombia and to work at Colegio Bolívar? And then tell us, what are you doing now?
Well, right now I'm retired. I did you send those attachments at all to Laura?
No,
Oh.
no, because Laura will not read them because she's super busy. She works with a lot of
Nowadays,
artists.
I'm reading a little bit more. I have to be a little bit honest that I decided that in 2022, I was going to go back to reading. Well, not go back. I've never read. I've been super laid back.
This is
Ivan is going to forward me that for sure.
This is one of the beauties of retirement, because quite frankly, when you guys are in your 40s, right? You don't have time to read, you really don't. You don't have time to read books. And I remember I read a definition of a regular book reader is someone who reads 2 books a year. And I remember struggling when I was, teaching, okay, I'm going to read 2 books a year so I can be a regular book reader, considered to be and I said, well, can I count Lonely Planet Guide to Brazil or something like this, So yeah, no, don't worry. There's really no time. In fact, I don't know in the end. I'm curious as to what you two guys are doing, but we'll go on with me here. So anyways, yeah. So I was teaching in Guadalajara, Mexico, and I wanted to keep doing that. I wanted to travel around the world and teach. And my director there in Guadalajara knew Marty Felton, Dr. Felton, and he called him up and he said, oh, you should hire this guy. And yeah, I got a job down there in Cali, Colombia.
Well, how long did you stay there in Cali?
3 years. I was there from 87 till 90.
Oh, it's a short period. It was not that long.
Yeah, no, 3 years. Most teachers would stay about 2 years. So I actually did better than most, I think. In fact, the contracts were for 2 years. And most people would fulfill their contract and they'd go back to where they came from. I, of course, then went on to Spain. So, yeah, so 3 years, that was it.
So how's your Spanish?
Me olvido casi todo que aprendí.
And while you were in Cali, obviously you had the opportunity, to be in this beautiful campus. I mean, Colegio Bolívar has one of the most beautiful campus overall. What else did you enjoy, or what else were you able to enjoy where you were living in Cali for these three years?
Well, I was quite busy, actually. I had another job at night. I think it's called the Colombo Americano downtown. So I used to teach ESL to adults in that facility, and I think it was like one class from 6 until 8. So we'd get out of school about 3:30. I'd go down there. I'd sleep in the teacher's lounge for about an hour. I'd take a siesta, and then I'd go teach at night. So I did that Monday through Friday. On Friday evenings, there was a guy down there. I think you guys were too young. But there was a guy down there called Mr. Heiner. He taught juniors and seniors. So I used to go play chess with him on Friday nights. On Saturday mornings, I'd go back to the Colombo. I'd play ping pong. We had a ping pong club down there. I'd play ping pong Saturday mornings. Saturday afternoon, we used to play softball out at the Britannico. Was that the school across the way?
Yes, that's our rival.
Yeah, right. That's right. Yeah, but they let us play on their field, and then we also Mr. Griffin. Did you know him?
Yeah, Mr. Griffin, I think yes. Yes,
He
yes.
died. He got in a motorcycle accident and died
Exactly.
Sounds
Yeah.
down
familiar.
there. So he and I were on this, then we got on a softball team and we won the Valle Caca championships.
Wow.
Whoa.
Impressive. So
Sundays I would just rest. Sundays I'd go to Dunkin' Donuts and get a dozen donuts and just sit in my apartment and eat
Living the
donuts
life. That's how
sleep.
it is. I'm so glad.
A day of rest.
Mhm.
so how did you end up teaching math?
Yeah,
You used to teach algebra or math, or I don't
yeah,
remember.
well, when I first got there, I was teaching 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade.
Mhm.
And that was my first year. And I said, I really liked middle school kids. And so they said, okay, you can go to middle school. So then I started teaching 7th and 8th grade math, which is what I taught you guys in for my second and third year exclusively.
Mhm.
And yeah, well, that's sort of a good question because, I had a degree in economics. So when I got the job in Mexico, the guy said, what do you want to teach? I have a business course and a math course. I said, okay, I'll teach math, So that's how I started teaching math. And I taught it for 9 years. And then, which was great, I got a job in my field, economics, teaching economics in high schools, which was great. I was really happy I got to do that.
And then after you finished your 3-year stay in Cali, did you went back to the States to Buffalo, or did you jump like to another city?
I went to Bilbao, Spain.
Mhm.
I went there and I taught there for 4 years. And after that, I went to Turkey for 3 years. And after that, I went to England for 7 years. And after that, I went to Peru for 2 years. And then after that, I went to Bahrain for 2 years. And then I retired.
Wow.
Yeah.
You have been
Impressive.
able to enjoy the best cultures ever and eat, Peruvian food, Colombian food, Mexican food, fish and chips, a little bit of everything.
Fish and chips. Yeah. Quite frankly, I was quite surprised at that, where they said Peru or Lima has a real culinary ambience about it. But it's true, they really do. It's like in France where they take a little more effort and put a little more effort into the food. And yeah, you're right about that. Lima really did have some very good restaurants, and of course anybody can walk in and get a $25 meal, But what I told people, they had the unit of money down there was the sol.
El sol.
And so 10 soles would be about $3. But I said to people, you can go out and get a good meal for 10 soles for $3, and a 3-course meal in Lima. So that's what I used to try to seek out, these smaller places, and you could get some excellent food for that price.
Nice. When I saw when you sent me your LinkedIn account, I was impressed with by the countries you visited and taught. Like I saw that, you were there in Lima, that you were in Turkey. I was really impressed, and thank you for sending it. I was surprised because most of the people that we have interviewed, they don't have that, traveling all over the world teaching. Some of them, but not all of them.
I wanted to ask, how many people have you interviewed?
Well, we're interviewing students, past students, and we're interviewing also directors like Mr. Traponi, counselors. So by now we have like what, 20 something, Laura?
Probably. No, we have like 30. We have almost 40 interviews.
Overall. No, yeah, but teachers, like
teachers, yes, maybe like 20 to 25.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, well, good job. And what are they putting them on the Bolivar website or anything like that? Or
yes, you have to subscribe to the Colegio Bolivar YouTube channel. Everything is posted on the YouTube channel. It's supposed to be 1 episode each week. And it's, if you want, well, you don't check your email, but there's like a newsletter.
I do check my emails, but not too often.
There's a newsletter that comes out weekly to students, to faculty, to, parents, whoever wants, and you get the alert that there's a new episode. So right now, if you go to the Colegio Bolivar page subscription that Ivancho could go ahead and forward to you, you're going to see all of the ones that we did for our first season that are there. And there are some amazing stories and amazing people that we have been able to, find.
Huh. Yeah, some of them are in Spanish and some of them are in English, of course. So it depends.
Okay.
but
I'll
you
give
can
it a whirl.
exactly, but you can understand Spanish, so that's good. So, Mr. Leary, when did you take off your mustache?
Yeah, I was going to say the old macho bigote, huh?
I know.
You know what? Yeah, well, I had braces on. So when I was in Colombia, I got braces to straighten my teeth.
I remember.
And so when I got the braces off, my third year, I shaved the mustache.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that.
No, I remember the mustache, and your face expressions are exactly the same. It's incredible.
Well, was I thinking about that, those braces? Here's the thing with you two guys. I recall you two as being quiet students. You know, when you got these emails, and Yvonne, I recall you sitting in the back, which means you had to be quiet and well behaved because I arranged everybody. Did you sit next to Perdomo back there? You might not even remember.
Yeah,
Laura,
I did, and we have a surprise for you a little bit later, but I did, yes. Yes.
And Laura, I remember you, but I could be wrong. I think you sat in the first row in the first seat, and I think you had braces. Did you have braces?
I did have braces for some time. Now, I think I like to sit in the front just because I was really a bad student, like in math and physics and chemistry. So I thought that like challenged the teacher. At least it showed that I was motivated and that I wanted to pay attention, but that I wasn't going to be very good at my grades.
You did
now,
that.
I did like to talk a lot. That I've been like known by being, one of the ones who can't stop talking in class. So I'm sure you arranged me. And
maybe that was it, but I recall you just sitting there looking quietly, and so.
I was confused, I'm sure, about everything that you were teaching. I was class of 1995. I graduated in 95.
Well, but I had you in seventh grade.
Yes.
Seventh grade is an easy course because it's basically a review. Mm-hmm. It's a review of everything you learned up until that point, because at one point, Mrs. Coaley wanted to have guys skip grades. And I said, yeah, well, have them skip seventh grade. There's not so much going on there. I don't think anything ever happened, but that's why it came up where, the seventh grade was the easier course.
Mm-hmm. What are your second, Ivancho?
No, I didn't know that, but I was going to ask him about something that the other day when we were sending emails, he sent an email saying your grade was like 76 or something like that, and Laura's was 70 something.
Yeah, right.
And then he asked me, like, do you think I have the grades and I still have them, or do you think I have a good memory? And I'm like, I think you have a good memory,
or made it up,
no, because you were right, I think.
No, what I have, strangely enough, every year at the end of the year, they issue you your final grades. So I have I taught for 26 years. I have the final grades for every student I ever taught, and I have them in a folder. That's the first time I ever went in and looked at that folder, but I do have them. So if somebody calls me up from Turkey and says, hey, what was my grade in 1997 in economics? I can tell them.
Wow, that's impressive.
I don't think anybody's going to do that, but.
And I don't think any other teacher has those grades like that. I don't know.
I wonder if they give them to you, probably not, I suppose. I don't know why I have them. As I say, it's the only time I ever referred to them,
Well, if I go back home to Cali, for sure, I'm going to go and see folders, and I have the grades from every single year.
You do? I only have the notebooks.
I have notebooks. I have the grades. I have everything. Academic notices. I have a lot of things there in Cali.
Well, if you find a discrepancy, we can get together again and we'll see what the problem is here.
I prefer not to see my grades. Thank you very much.
I got an 81 in that course. I know. I think you said that, Yvonne. You said, I thought I got an 81, but okay. I think I said you got an 80 maybe or something, or I forget what you graded.
No, you said something like a 70, but I was like an 80s student. So I was like 70s. I don't know. I'm not sure.
I thought it was 80.
Maybe.
I thought
maybe.
I forgot too.
Most of my grades were in the 80s and some of them in the 90s, but 70s, like very few. Like
muy bien,
PE. Yeah, probably PE. Yeah, when I had to play soccer, I don't play soccer. Of course, I don't play soccer. Now I play soccer, but when I was a kid, I didn't play soccer.
Do you? Oh, that's good.
Now,
Yeah,
Mr.
don't let
Leary,
school get in the way of your education.
no.
Yeah.
Mr. Leary, what are your fondest moments from Colegio Bolivar?
Well,
I mean, it was a short period of time, but I'm sure that you have a great memory. You're gonna have like lots of beautiful stories.
not only do I have a great memory, but I wrote some things down, you know, to help with the
Yeah.
interview, you know.
First one that is prepared.
Well, yeah, you know, you should be prepared because I listen, I have a radio and I listen to the radio, and I often think that probably it's staged, you know, when they ask a question that the guy already knows the answer to the question and he gives great answers, you know, because what if he asked a question and the guy said, gee, I haven't really thought about that, you know, what kind of, you know, how is that for a radio interview, you know, and plus, so you know, these things should be as good as they can. So, okay, I wrote some things down here. And I'll tell you what I really liked, quite frankly, after I got out of Cali, I was in Spain, and those students are a little more serious. But looking back on it, I really enjoyed working with middle school kids. You know, you guys were a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun down there. I had a lot of fun teaching. Afterwards, I enjoyed teaching the whole time. You know, I'm happy I did that. But it seemed like we actually had some fun down there in Cali, or I had fun. Maybe you guys didn't, you know. If you were having fun, I'd stick you in the comm school, you know. But so I did enjoy teaching middle school. And the other thing I remember looking at all you guys is you were all cute. And I began thinking, of course, if you're not cute when you're in 7th and 8th grade, when are you going to be cute, you know? But you were all very cute. You really were. So I enjoyed doing that. Of course, I enjoyed the weather, you know, and I tell people about that. There was a time and temperature. I'd wait for the bus in the morning, and it would be 68. They had a time and temperature, and it would be 68 every morning. And then in the afternoon, it would be 85. And then the wind would come over, you know, and cool things down. You'd start over the next day at 68.
Where did you live when you were in Cali? Around what area?
I lived, the first year I moved, every year I moved. First year I lived in San Fernando. The second year I had an apartment over, you know, the Avianca office, is that still down there? There's a plaza where the Sexta begins.
Okay,
There
yeah.
must be a bunch of Avianca offices now.
Is it still? I called it Avianca Plaza.
It's where the theaters are, like the camp, where the Sexta begins, where what he's
Right,
saying.
exactly, yeah. And so I lived in an apartment overlooking that, and that was really cool. And then I moved back to San Fernando for my third year. I lived up in up around if you go from the stadium, if you go up there about 5 blocks, I lived up there. So that they were all nice places. I liked all the places I lived. Yeah, so Cali was pretty tranquil, so I liked that too, you know. But yeah, the weather. So let me look and see some of these things that I wrote. Oh, the classroom, of course, with 3 walls.
Yeah.
And in fact,
We
this guy,
mentioned that in all of our interviews.
this guy, everybody mentions that.
Everybody relates to that being one of the most precious things that Colegio Bolivar has.
This guy here, this technical advisor here that I have, this is the first Zoom call I ever did too. You know, I've never done that before. But I came back here at the end of the 3 years. I was talking to his family. He had 2 young daughters, and I told them about that. And apparently for years, they were just enchanted by that notion of a classroom with 3 walls, you know. And so it really struck a chord that. But yeah, I liked it. And there maybe you recall, there was bamboo right outside my classroom. And on a good day, you could see that volcano off in the distance with the snow on it, you know. I mean, you know, these are small things, but I used to appreciate that, you know, and maybe perhaps more. With time, I can appreciate it more, you know, when you go to a place like Europe and it's cold and, you know, you're indoors and stuff like that. Well, I'll tell you another thing, actually, that when I was down there, it irritated me because I don't know, I was sort of a serious math teacher. But as I went on, I got a little, not always serious, but less serious. And I reflected fondly on the 3-day weekends back there that Colombia.
The puentes.
The puentes, yeah. And I was thinking about that. Mexicans do that puente stuff, and I guess Colombians call them puentes too. But I remember between when we would start in September and we'd go till Christmas, half of the weekends were 3-day weekends. And back then I'd be irritated because I got to teach math, we got to do this math stuff, But then after I got going and reflected on it, and of course Simon Bolivar's day, Simon Bolivar's cousin's day, and, everything got celebrated.
And then the Colombian holidays plus the American holidays. But it was holiday all the time.
Right. So go to Turkey. Turkey, you start in September, and it's a Muslim country. So we would go, and they did. So there was Christmas. You could petition the state, would have one day off from Christmas. So we would work from September to the middle of January, and that would be the end of the semester. No, one holiday, Christmas Day. And I would think, I got to get back to Colombia. Where are these Colombian holidays? So then that's when I began to appreciate it, where you work every day and it's cold and dark and the students are falling over. So yeah, that was another thing that I appreciated about life in Colombia. And of course, I don't know if they would do it to you, but they knew I was a foreigner, and they would Colombia had a bad reputation back then. Maybe they still do, I don't know, but they say, oh, we have such a bad reputation, and they'd help you out, they'd help me out doing things, and so that was great too. All the people were very nice and helpful, and they did it intentionally, so that was also a good thing about life in Cali. Let's see what else I wrote down there. Oh, well, maybe what's the next question?
The next question is,
no, go ahead, Laura.
do you, going back again to your 3-year stay, do you keep in touch with anyone from the school?
Well, of course, Mrs. Barr. I think Yvonne, did you interview Mrs. Barr at all?
Yeah, Alice Strong Barr. Yes, we did. Yeah.
Did you interview her? Yeah.
Yes, we haven't, Mr. Barr, but no, I'm trying.
So Alice, they divorced, right?
Yes, correct.
So Alice, Alice is from Buffalo. Alice was from here. I didn't know her before I got to Columbia. And so I take these little trips. So I took a trip last fall to visit people, and I emailed her. I said, "Oh, are you ready for a visitor?" She goes, "Well, not really. My father died yesterday, so I didn't get to see her." Mr. Barr lives about 80 miles south of here, and I haven't seen him nobody's seen anybody because of the pandemic, But so maybe I'm going to go to Ohio in a couple of weeks. So maybe hopefully I'll stop by and say hello to him. I think he was very worried about coronavirus. I think he gained some weight, so he was worried about it. Let me think, who else? Did you? I don't know if you guys. I think you were too old. There was a woman named Miss Smith. She taught 4th grade.
I don't know her, but since I've been reviewing the yearbooks, the kioscos, I basically know of everybody. But yeah, I've seen her.
She got in touch with me a couple months ago. She works over in Ontario, which is right across the border. I'm on the border here in Buffalo. Mm-hmm. She worked for 34 years in the Ontario school system and recently retired they get great pensions up there in Canada. There was a guy, again, Mr. Heiner, who you guys, I don't think you knew him, but I talk to him from time to time, So maybe those are the 4 people that I've kept in touch with.
Well,
I was going to say, I saw another thing here. I saw another thing here that
the YouTube thing. I'm sure you're going to see so many friendly faces of faculty, students, and that's going to refresh your mind a lot and maybe connect.
Another thing I see here that I wrote that I liked about teaching in Columbia was because I was teaching middle school math, and the corrections were very easy. You guys would take a test and I'd correct them in about 20 minutes, Yeah,
you did. Yeah, you were very fast. I remember that.
I continue to be fast, but as opposed to when I was teaching seniors, IB, are you familiar with International Baccalaureate? Have you heard of that?
Yes, we know it.
So they write. So I'd have, like 25 seniors in a classroom and they'd write for 45 minutes. I didn't correct those things quickly, So that's another thing that I appreciated about life in Cali.
But you mentioned something, and I have it here on my notes. You mentioned something that was very interesting that you had in your class, that was ComSchool. So yeah. Tell us about ComSchool, because you're the only one. You were the only one with that.
Yeah. Oh, really? I was the only one, right?
Yeah, that's your invention. That's your thing. That's your legacy.
Well, one of the bad things, I guess, but it's not bad. It's just one of the natural attributes of people in middle school or young people is they have trouble concentrating, kind of like Laura had the urge to talk, you know, a lot of urge to talk. And I said I was a serious math teacher and I wanted to make sure we all got the math. And so no talking, no fooling around, no. And in fact, a lot of it, some of it is unconscious behavior. You know, the students were actually unconscious of what they were doing. So when they would do that, I would try to help out and send them to comm school to calm down. And that would be after school. And they'd come in and they'd write 500 words, was it maybe?
It was like a private detention because it was only for your class, but it was not detention because we had detention and you could send us to detention, but you had your own calm school.
Oh
Right,
my God,
yeah.
calm school. I can't believe, Ivancho, you remember that. I just
Well,
think,
Yeah, maybe you didn't go because you were in the first row.
no, but I remember the term calm school.
yeah, because we used to repeat it over and over. But I didn't go to comm school. I don't think I went. But the other day, you know, I was chatting with my class, and when I told them that I found you, everybody was like, "Oh, comm school, comm school." So you know, that's why
I think some people spent a lot of time there.
For sure, Gilberto, Dani Acevedo. I don't know.
There's a term called a Pareto ratio. And it goes like this. They'll say something like 20% of the students spent 80% of the time in comm school.
Wow.
I'm guessing.
And who gave you the idea of comm school, or how it was born?
You brought it from Mexico? It was
Yeah, we had it in Mexico. I took it to Spain. I used it until I got to high school. And then those guys, they couldn't find the humor in it. So I disbanded it when I got to Turkey.
I remember you were very funny and you're still very funny. You do
Yeah.
mention that you're very strict and math is all about seriousness, but I remember you as being, you know, funny in that sense. I mean, comm school, who would think
I still use a joke that belongs to him. So when somebody says, I don't see, he used to turn around and say, are your eyes open? Like,
oh my God,
right?
Ivan.
Yeah, he did. And still, like when somebody tells me I don't see, I'm like, are your eyes open? And I only laugh, you know, nobody understands that, but it comes from him.
Internal joke.
Yeah, it comes from him.
An old Cali middle school phrase.
Yeah. You had a lot of phrases like that. I don't recall, I don't remember that much, but I remember those. Yeah. We're gonna have a little surprise for you, and that person really remembers every single class of yours. So I don't know, like Laura, when you see him connected.
Yes, not yet.
Not yet. Okay. So let's continue until he gets connected.
Okay.
Mr. Leary, do you wish at some point to go back? Maybe is it in your plans now that you are more relaxed? Maybe the pandemic kind of happens and, you know, do a little visit to Cali and.
I want to. In fact, I envision like a 75th anniversary or something like this. I would love to go back there. And in fact, of course, I say that, and you know, I've been retired for 15 years. And but I guess if I wanted to do that, first thing I would do is check the website from time to time to see if there is such a reunion like that. But yes, I envision us all in the Intercontinental. Is the Intercontinental still there?
Yes, it's still there, but now, so you know, all of the big parties happen at the school. The school has like a high school or a alumni reunion every single year. They celebrate like in chunks, like class of 90, 95.
5 years.
2005.
I would like it, so a general reunion. So because any one class, because I have the 1990 yearbook. So, when I taught, so I knew seniors, I knew everybody from not everybody, but people from 7th grade to 12th grade. But yeah, I want to do that. I would love to do that. I'd love to come down to Cali and get into one of those reunions.
The school is identical. You're going to still see, you know, the 3-wall things, but then there's like this humongous buildings that they have built. When we were younger, the school felt so large and so immense. Now, obviously you go and everything is like small. You see the classrooms and the lockers and everything looks tiny, but it's beautiful because it's exactly the same as how we left it.
It's perspective.
That happens when you're small. We went back to this house I grew up in, and it seemed quite large, and it seems small now, but that's because you actually were physically small, so everything was actually bigger for you.
Well, you haven't spoken about food, which is my favorite topic. And I'm sure you're delighted by, Kucha's cafeteria or Colombian delicacies.
I tell people this, if I never ate again, I could care less.
Really?
Yeah, I don't care about food, but I did eat in that cafeteria, and the reason I would bring my lunch from time to time, and people would steal the lunch out of the refrigerator. So, but I had a song down there about that, and I'm going to sing it to you about the food. And here's what I remember about Cali. Comere, comera, as we stand in the lunch line together. I will eat, you will eat, all the rice and the beans and bananas. That's what I remember of Cali food.
That's
Oh
funny.
my God, Cantaré, Cantarás versión, food version.
Yeah.
That's very funny.
I used to sing that when they'd have me monitoring. When the students would come up, I'd say, you apparently didn't come up when I was singing that song.
I told you he was funny.
Yeah, I remember. So is there any specific thing that you miss about Colombia? Colombia, Cali?
Didn't I mention enough there, all those things that the country was beautiful. I traveled all over the country, and I love that rugged look with a lot of vegetation on the side, down around Popayan, and back then the M19 had become a political party. So I was able to go all over the country. That's one thing why I became a teacher. I wanted 10 weeks of vacation a year. And so, yeah, I went all over Colombia, and by bus. I didn't fly around, and so, yeah, it was a beautiful country. Everybody was nice.
Did you have a pen pal? Who was your travel partner for those kind of trips?
No, just alone. Nobody wanted to do that kind of stuff. Nobody. So for the one summer, I got on a bus and I went down to Santiago, Chile.
Wow.
And it took 60 hours. Nobody wanted to do that, so I did that alone.
You mentioned Mr. Griffin. Mr. Griffin, yeah, he died in a motorcycle accident.
Right.
And I think he used to, well, I think that was in Colombia, and he used to ride that bike all over Colombia too. He was traveling when that happened.
Right.
Actually, that was a crisis in my class because he was supposed to be our English teacher. And since he died, we didn't have a teacher for that whole year. And I think Mrs. Costalas used to once in a while be a substitute there, but it was a class that we used to go there and do nothing because we didn't have a teacher.
Well, it's kind of funny because he died at the end of the school year.
Yeah, but at the beginning of the year, we didn't have a teacher because they didn't find a replacement.
Because he was supposed to meet me. I went down to Leticia. I was in Leticia, and he was going to meet me there. And I stayed an extra day or two waiting for him to come, and then he didn't come. I said, okay, well, so much for that. And then at some point I heard he had a good reason for not coming,
Yeah, good reason. So Mr. Leary, what are you doing right now in your life?
Well, not so much. I have a part-time job. 2 days a week, I work and I serve food to old people in an assisted living facility.
God bless you.
Pardon?
God bless you. What a beautiful way to give back.
Well, we actually get paid. I get paid $15 an hour to do this. So, but I go down there 2 days a week. But for the most part, I only kept up with 3 people here in Buffalo, and 2 of them have moved out. So this is the one guy that I know in Buffalo. So I don't know many people. My family is in New York State. I have a sister in town here. I see her once a week. My brother is in Albany and my other sister is in Syracuse. We get together about 4 times a year, but I don't do a lot. I am a serious retired person.
And you're very young to be retired. You seem very young.
I'm 70.
Well, you look fantastic.
Yeah, you look very young. Yeah.
That's when I run around down at this assisted living facility, and all those old people at the facility say exactly the same thing. They say, yes, young man, and I'll bend down to pick something up in one motion, and you are really in great shape.
Yeah, I saw the picture that you sent me. Very nice, very nice. Actually, after we're done with the interview, we're gonna ask you for some pictures so we can put in the interviews at the end. So
I
but we'll
sent you
talk-
a picture. One of the attachments is a
Yes.
picture.
Yes, I saw it. I saw it. Very nice
But
picture.
there's only 2 pictures of me this century. That's one, and the other one is on my LinkedIn page.
Really?
That's
That's
I don't have a camera. I don't have a camera. Nobody takes pictures anymore, you
well,
know?
I'm sure we have to find either from your now. Were you able 7th grade? I
Well,
know
here's the
Gorgona
thing, well,
was 10th grade.
I
Gorgona.
was looking in the 1990 yearbook. There's 2 pictures of me in there. One with the macho bigote and another one without. So there's 2 right there. And they're full-size pictures. For some reason, oh, I know one. You guys used to have a some sort of contest, an academic contest. And I was up at the chalkboard writing a question up there or something like that, I guess. And the
Mhm.
other one was a field day, a sports day. And I don't know, standing out on the sports field, and you could use those pictures if you have the 1990.
Yes, we
I
are.
have,
We're gonna try to
I have
find
access to them. Don't worry. I have them. Yes.
So
Yeah,
look in there,
that's
and I think I
all of
got
the-
sunglasses on maybe with in the sports picture.
I don't remember, but
Ivan
No,
has
no, I
access
just looked
to
today.
all of those.
yeah,
Pardon?
Ivan
Oh.
has access to all of the kiosks.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it is very fun to go back and like look at yourself. I remember I have my kiosco from when I graduated, and the way I wrote, what I wrote down. I mean, it's so weird to go back and see everybody. We do keep in touch. We have Ivan also, we have a chat with the class in WhatsApp, and there's a Facebook page of the class. So everybody's, sharing pictures that they find from back in the days because maybe they have a camera. I'm gonna make sure and text, reach out to my class and see if they could find anything from you.
And how many people would you say in the class do you, there were about 100 in the class, weren't there?
53. My class was a 53 people person class.
And how many people do you sort of keep in touch with?
The Facebook class has literally like 55 because I
Wow.
have Mrs. Costales inside there that she wanted to be a part. And I have also Carolina Chavez, that is the alumni officer. And then there's like other people that just maybe were in my class for 2 to 3 years and they left and they want to come back. And then in the chat, we have maybe 35.
Wow. Geez, amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
As I say, Cali, it sounds funny, relatively a small town, and you guys were all cohesive, so that in a way, it doesn't surprise me. I would think a couple guys would be missing, but I guess not, huh?
Yeah, in my class.
We had a death of Daniel Roman. He passed away a couple of years ago. He has been like the only one from my class that unfortunately we lost, but the rest, they're all, kicking, doing great, living all over the world with families, no families, business, everything great.
Now that's one thing I remember about Colombia is it seemed every year somebody would die, and they plant a tree out there. I was thinking there must be a forest out there by now. But I remember one, and I remember, I can't remember the guy. And the typing teacher would get all you kids together, and they try to commemorate the kid who had died, and you guys would all start crying, and I'd leave. I hated to see you all crying. Maybe it wasn't your class, maybe it was a different class. And
so
this guy died when he was in your class, when he was like in 8th grade or something like that.
So that typing teacher was Chila, and I think that the guy you're referring to, his name was Juan Guillermo or something like that.
Tejada?
Yeah, I think it's Tejada. Yeah.
Tejada, yeah.
Juan
Yeah,
Guillermo
right.
Tejada died of heart failure.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
Very
right.
young and died of heart failure. Oh, wow.
But other guys that get run over and stuff like that, and maybe when they're older, they'd get run over. But I think every year they would have a ceremony and they plant a tree,
And then Andrew Koch, that was Juan Camilo Koch's younger brother, he was in a car accident and he also passed. And then, we had the terrible American Airlines
Right.
to Cali that had
Right.
a bunch of people from the
Yeah. That was really bad. I saw Marty Felton, and his daughter was on that flight. I saw him after that. So yeah, he was talking about, yeah, that was really pretty bad, huh?
Very bad.
Actually, the other, Martin Felton's other daughter, Amanda, she runs the school's pre-K school. How do you call it? A pre-K school. It's
Marty
called,
Fountain's other daughter, huh?
yeah,
Amanda. They
She
have
runs,
3. It's Nathaniel, Amanda, and
Ariel.
Ariel, that was the one who passed on the American Airlines.
Right.
So
So
she
she stayed down there in Colombia, huh?
Yeah, she went back to Colombia and she opened El Nido, which is the school you
Yes.
go before Colegio Bolívar. And we have an interview with her that is coming up, and it's a beautiful interview, talking about school, El Nido, and her dad. So
Her
it's
dad's
very,
legacy.
yeah.
Wow. Wow.
It's amazing.
And I think the wife was in Dallas with him. You know, he died, right?
Yes.
Yes, correct. Yeah, Mr. Leary, I don't think the person that we had as a guest is showing up today. I don't know because
Why? I'm trying to find him and he's no.
I don't know.
nowhere
He's
to
not
find.
answering. I'm trying, so I don't know. So we had
Send
Camilo
me an
Perdomo.
email.
Yeah, he has a phone for sure. So it was Camilo Perdomo, and you mentioned Perdomo before, and so you remember him. He's from my class, and he was supposed to join to, have a little surprise and have an extra person from Colegio Bolívar talking to you.
Perdomo was going to show up.
Yes.
Yeah,
If
Yeah.
He's
strange, I
partying.
mentioned his name and he was going to
Yes.
show up, huh?
yeah, but I don't know what happened to him because he's not answering. But these things happen because we always try to do this like sort of live. I mean, it's recorded and we launch it like several weeks after we edit and do some stuff. But it's a sort of a live thing, and it's very difficult to coordinate sometimes. So
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm surprised. As I say, I'm happy you guys were persistent and kept going. I wanted to say another thing I remember about Cali. It's kind of a weird thing. Whenever it would rain hard in Cali, and they would have a picture of a school bus in under a bridge in water. I don't know if you remember anything, and I wonder if they still do that. Be a little strange, but that I was on that bus. That was one of our school buses, and
Wow.
it was going down the Quinta, and it was raining, and the bus driver was going down in there, and we were going home from school, and so we started going vaya, vaya, vaya. So the guy went into the puddle, and he got stuck in there. So and the engine stalled. So there were little kids on the bus and stuff like that. So I think we got in our bare feet. We took the little kids off under the bridge. We were under a bridge there. We put the little kids up there. And I said, well, I got to go to work. I'm going down to the Colombo, So there were a couple of teachers and a couple of students under a bridge in Cali in the rain, And so they, as I say, they used to show that bus in the water. This is what can happen in Cali if it keeps raining hard and we don't do anything.
I'm sure it still happened because the city, if you go back to the city, it's the same. So I imagine that the sewage and all of the water management is still as messy as it was a couple of years ago.
A couple of 30 years ago.
It's a little bit difficult to say, but the city changed a lot and didn't change anything. So it has like new things because it has like a new bus route. It's called El Mío. So it changed a little bit of the city, but no. But if you go there, it's basically the same thing.
Yeah, well, of course, it was all laid along the mountains there, so I don't think it would go anywhere, maybe it would go further along the mountains there,
It has great restaurants. Now, you go to Cali and you have great locations, still the same old barrio, but with like little restaurants all over and you get great food.
Huh.
But we'll get you an invitation to go to school because the school looks amazing. They're doing a lot of things. They did a new pool, which is amazing, and they are doing a new gym. So things are changing also there, and for sure you'll be glad to be there. So hopefully, after this pandemic ends, or we can all be together in Colegio Bolívar. We're gonna try to do something very special. To celebrate Entre Amigos and to celebrate all the people that we have interviewed.
I want to come. I want to go down there. And I see my friend was just in the Miami airport. And he took a picture of the flights, and I see they have direct flights to Cali nowadays.
Yeah, we have direct flights. We have direct flights from Avianca, New York, Cali now. We don't stop in Medellin like before. And we have an American Airlines flight direct from also JFK to Cali, which is the one that I'm taking. And it's great. 5 hours.
I live in Miami, and Avianca flies directly to Cali. Copa flies directly.
No, directly
American Airlines, LATAM. I mean, it's a 3-hour and 20-minute ride and you're just there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There used to be a brief stop in Bogota. They just let guys off. Yeah, I don't think you're on the ground more than 15 or 20 minutes, but I could, maybe
We prefer not to stop in Bogota, actually. We prefer not to stop in Bogota because in Bogota, you stop and you don't know if you're taking the next flight. So if we can fly direct, it's better to fly
Oh,
direct.
yeah, no, it looked pretty good. But having said that, I didn't ever leave. I flew in, and then after 3 years, I flew out because I used to travel through South America. So I never went back to the States until I left after 3 years. I'd go down to Argentina and Chile and work my way back. I really enjoyed traveling down there. I always wanted to go to South America. I was really happy to be there.
I'm
Nice.
glad you were able to.
Well, let me ask you this. I know this interview is all about me, as it should be. But Ivan, what are you doing in New York? And how long have you been there? And what about you?
So I've been in New York for now almost 14 years. I'm a real estate broker, but I do other stuff like investments and things like that, but I'm a real estate broker. I used to work in fashion and I used to work also in entertainment like Laura. And I went to the university with Laura in Bogota. I studied mass communication and then I graduated in Miami. And I lived before New York, I lived in Miami. So, and in Spain for a little and in Mexico and other parts. And basically that's it. And now I do Entre Amigos.
New Mexico, where Santa Fe?
No. In Mexico.
Mexico. Oh,
Mexico City. Yeah.
I just went back to Mexico in the fall. I went to Puerto Peñasco. It's up north on the Bay of California.
Oh, nice.
I like Mexico. So Laura, what are you? You're in Miami?
Yes, I'm in Miami. I've been here for 22 years already. I graduated Bogota, mass communications and journalism with Ivan. And then I just decided to move here, jumped on another, major, started broadcasting. And then like maybe a couple of years in, decided to focus on music, entertainment, and everything that had to do with public relations. And now I own a public relations firm and I'm dedicated 100% to my firm. We do fashion, beauty, music, entertainment, sports for the US Hispanic market. So I love the glitz and glam and running around and doing what I like the best, that is talking.
And it's good because you guys can both do it in Spanish and English. So that's quite handy, huh?
Yeah. So Laura dedicates 200% to that company. She's always working. And the only time she is not working is when I can grab her for Entre Amigos, which is very difficult. But, once a week, I'm like, no, Laura, we have to do this.
Ivan is the one who keeps me like, we need to content. Mr. Leary just showed up and I'm like, I have 2 reports that I have to turn in, but how are we not going to say yes to Mr. Leary? Let me get some time.
Well, I'm happy we all finally got together.
Mm-hmm.
And and in Miami, maybe you don't have to do so much English, huh? I don't know. Is there much English?
Here it's Cuban, it's Colombian, it's Venezuelan. I do have to, speak a lot in English because of my American clients or corporations. And I'm always thankful for Colegio Bolivar's English because it's definitely the best. And it's like, not math, not physics. I mean, learning English and typewriting is all I use every single day of my life. So
yeah. So cosine doesn't come up, huh?
Say again?
Cosine never came up in your life, huh?
Never comes.
She still doesn't.
What a shame. and I tried so hard. I felt sure that cosine would be very important after we got out of school.
I apologize.
Well, one of my favorite subjects was algebra, so it is. Well, I went to I studied architecture in Los Andes in Bogota for 2 years and a half. So, and I saw advanced geometry for that, and I was pretty good. I would thank to you, Mr. Leary. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you very much for, again, accepting this invitation. I hope you stay in contact. I hope you get a cell phone. And I hope you find pictures. But if not, you have your email. I'm going to send you the link for this interview, but I'm also going to forward you the newsletter and where you
Yes,
can
so
find,
you could
you
get
can
the
find
link
all
to
the
the
other
other.
interviews. Yeah, and for sure you'll be able to understand the ones that are in Spanish. And once again, thank you very much. Thank you very much for the time you spent in school and for Calm School and for your knowledge and for remembering us.
Yeah. Well, thanks for getting in touch. And yeah, I really do hope to get down there. So yeah, you send me you got my email. And if something's going on, as I say, I want to go down there and see it one last time. I was in Peru and I didn't get up there. So I thought, but it is quite a distance from Peru to.
Yeah, it's not easy to fly in Latin America. It's everything is very far away and it's very expensive. A ticket from Cali to Lima is basically a ticket from Cali to New York. So
Yeah.
it's very difficult. It's not like in Europe that you take Ryanair for $30, Madrid,
Right.
Milan. No, it's not like that.
Right. Yeah.
We're
Although
gonna
I'm
do a
taking.
picture, Mr. Leary. This
You
is
can take-
for, social media for everybody. So
I've heard about social media.
it's 1, 2, 3, say cheese.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Eso.
So
you don't have a Facebook account and you don't have an Instagram account, any of those things, right?
I have I sent you my LinkedIn account. I have that. That's because I was at that motel and I didn't have anything to do. And I said, I think I'll have a cyber presence. And so I made that up one night. I put that on there and then, but that was it, so yeah, no.
If you ever find other contacts and other teachers that were in school, like the one you mentioned, if you have their contact information, we'll be happy to get in contact with them and probably do an interview with them too. Okay?
You want to do Miss Smith at all, or?
Sure, we're gonna do
well,
everybody.
I'll write her. I'll ask her if she wants to do it. If she feels like doing it, I'll send her your email.
Our plan was to do like 3 interviews, and now we have like 40. And I don't know when are we gonna stop. We don't know. Like
there were only so many teachers there, so eventually you will stop.
It's always like during the week we don't want to do anything else, and we're like no more. But then we have an interview like this one, and we're like. We love it. We love to talk about school, and we love to have you guys in the show. So,
I was on their website one time. Do you remember that woman, Miss Henao, who was in the computer lab? Susan Henao?
I've seen her picture. I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Alice, she was Alice's aide for a year, and Alice doesn't remember her, so maybe you'll
So Miss Alice Strunk, she was we were very good. I don't know if we call it friends at school. Well, she was my teacher, but we had a very good relationship. And actually, I taught computers because we were like monitors. Hernan Romero, Agudelo, Piedradita, and we used to work for the school, like teaching computers. But at that time, it was like Logo and maybe COBOL, Fortran, basic. I don't know, any of those things. Once again, thank you very much for joining.
Okay, yeah, right. Well, thanks for contacting me and good luck. And I hope to see you someday down there in good old Cali.
Thank you, Mr. Leary, for your time. It was fantastic to see you without the mustache, but the same person that we remember. Thank you for the patience. Thank you for your knowledge. Thank you for, giving us those great 3 years.
And all those great grades.
To everybody, thank you very much for joining. We'll see you in the next show.
Yeah, well, hello to all the Bolivaritos who may end up watching this.
Bolivaritos will, for sure.
Although I guess if they're in their 40s, they're not Itos anymore, huh?
No, but you're gonna see a lot of people from 40s, 50s. I don't know. There's a lot of people that watch this.
We interviewed Mrs. Coeli, and she's 95.
Is she? Oh, well. I wish you'd seen her. Tell her I'm sorry for all the trouble I gave her. I think Mr. Barr and I used to give her a lot of trouble.
And Mr. Torloni, you're going to see the interview for Mr. Torloni too.
Yeah. And Mrs. Hernandez. No, there's a bunch of people. This is fantastic.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Have a good one.
We'll see you later someday.
Bye-bye. Bye, Entre Amigos.